I put it on the
comments
screen. My
are.
parents moved out of New York City because of unaffordability and moved to the Jersey Shore. Newsflash, a lot of people, especially in my community of Southern Brooklyn, did the same thing, especially with COVID. They picked up and got out.
Well,
do I think
Charles,
it's a bad thing? I don't.
that was also true in the 50s and 60s when
Yeah.
white flight drove a number of middle-class people out of cities and created these centers of poverty. If you want to talk about city dynamics right now, it's a question of how to return areas of cities that have concentrated poverty back to becoming economically viable.
Well,
That's a whole separate discussion.
I would take
I
it in a
wrote a
slightly
white
different
paper
direction.
on it.
I would take it in the direction of, is somebody entitled to live in a certain region because just by virtue of existing? I would say no.
Well, I'm not even sure what you're trying to say there.
Meaning the approach that I think Mamdani is taking and is clicking with voters is you are entitled to live in New York City just because you are geographically here. What I'm saying is you have market forces who control whether you can or cannot afford to live in a certain region. So the fact that Nancy's parents had to move out is just a simple function of the free market functioning.
Well, of course, economics comes into play, but the real question is, do you want to live in that area? Why do you want to live in an area? And is it advantageous for you? You live on Avenue Y, 500. I've looked it up on Google Maps only because I was curious.
Okay, that's
I have
cool.
no idea where that is in location to where your business is located, but I suspect it's convenient to go from your home to where you live.
Yep.
It would be far less convenient to drive across the Bronx to get to where your business is located. And you certainly wouldn't commute, as I did for a number of years, from Syracuse to New York City because I wanted to live in upstate.
Fun fact, I actually commuted upwards north of the Bronx from Brooklyn. It was an hour and 10 minutes door to door. And just over the past couple of years, we opened up another place in Brooklyn. It's about a half hour away. But we have two locations.
Okay.
One is there, one is there.
But and you probably would not have driven as I did for 5 years from Syracuse to Buffalo and back.
That's a different level of commitment.
So it's more than economics. It's about where you want to be.
That too.
And we select where we want to live to an extent if we can afford it. If we can't afford it, we live wherever we can afford to live.
That's it. And I think the message of affordability within a city, and we'll make buses free, and we're going to increase the tax on the rich, and the all of the rhetoric that he was tapping into was, if you even go back to his inauguration speech, was about, we're going to make sure that you can live here despite the economics, despite the market reality that sometimes you just cannot do it. That's what I think. That's where I think he's trending against where the American experiment should be heading. Should be a lot more free market than that.
I just finished watching one of my favorite movies on Indie Flicks, Across the River and Into the Woods. It's a Hemingway story.
All right.
Movie starring Lib Schreiber. It just ended. And I highly recommend it to anybody who's listening. I think it's going to be repeated, but I don't know what the networks are that it's going to be on. I have to say that I'm only here this morning because our priest is sick. And
I was surprised to see you. I thought you had church.
Yeah, we do.
All right.
We have Bible study at 9 and service at 10, and our priest is sick, and 90% of the congregation came down with a combination of flu or cough.
Wow.
Last weekend, while we were having a joint service at another church, and they didn't warn us in advance that everyone in the church was sick, with the exception of 6 choir members and 3 people who were not part of the choir.
Okay.
And we went there for this joint service, and we all caught their bug.
Wow.
And so now we're all down. This is actually our second week where we haven't had a service at our church. So that was 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And so this morning I'm sitting here waiting for a Zoom connection for the service at 10 o'clock.
All righty. Okay. Best of health to the congregation.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to tap out of here in a second, but
Sure.
you got anything else you want to talk about other than cities?
Thoughts on the younger generations claiming to be independent, better or worse for the American experiment?